Hi, and welcome back to Mighty Little Green Machine. On today's episode, we have Paul with us again, and we have Paul's 1025, and we're going to be installing what's one of my favorite add-ons to the tractor, and that's the auto throttle kit. So it's the exact same kit that you saw me install on the 2025 on mine, and I'll put a link to that video at the end of this video. There's a few differences, so I probably won't go as in-depth in this video, but I will make sure that I point out what the differences are on the 10 as compared to the 20 and help you with any issues that we might come across as we go. So let's get started. Okay, so that was step one on the tractor. It's just like the 20. Okay, you got to remove the two bolts, the stopping bolts, the adjustment stoppers for the pedals. And then we've already assembled the assembly.
And that's how easy that is.
And there you go. And those are right off.
So I know people struggle with them because it's an old technology.
Yeah, it's funny how. So this is the assembly is exactly the same. I mean, everything is the same up so far. And actually, most of it is. There's only a couple of adjustments we're going to do to make it work on the 10. But so that's where we're at so far. So we've done the first couple of steps. Okay, so we've bolted on the new assembly. We've put in the reverse stopper. That uses two nuts to set it, and it goes against the stud that goes into the bracket. We have the wire coming up through here, and we've got all of our linkages down there. So far, exactly like the 2025. Okay, so we got the linkages on, and what you're looking for here is where these attach to this. You want to make sure these are tight up against there. We started with the setting of the 174 millimeter. I did not tighten these yet because I'm probably going to have to adjust them when we test it. And then if you see, the cable comes up through here. And now we're going to route the cable. Okay, so we've replaced the throttle cable, which runs down through in here. We had to remove the bolt for the fuel filter because that held the throttle cable in place. And we've replaced the piece for the throttle, which now has a place for two cables instead of one. And if you look, the spring goes up under here, the straight part, and then it comes down and around the curved part and goes up behind here. And the other thing is, this is your throttle stop adjustment. Make sure that you put this bracket on. It will go on when it's not in there and it doesn't sit right. So make sure that's up in front of it. Okay, so here's a difference on the 10 compared to the 20. I have this bracket, which bolts down underneath this mount here for the center console or the center piece. And normally on the 2025R, it would bolt this way. But on the 1025R, you have to bolt it in backwards. So it's going to go this way. And I'll show a video once I get it on there. Okay. So you can see that's how the bracket has to go on the 1025. That's how it gets installed backwards. The cable runs down underneath there. This is not tight yet, so it'll go more into line with it, but it holds it away from everything so nothing rubs on anything. Then it comes around, bolts to the bracket. That's the same as the 20, and comes around. And now we're just going to bring it up, and the other difference is going to be we're going to put a loop in the cable up under the hood because the cable's too long for the 10. So you put a little loop in it, and I'll show you that when I finish. Okay, so this is what it looks like all wired up. Again, another difference on the 10 is you run the cable. You can't even see it. You run the cable in a loop around, and then you zip tie it here. Then it goes down to get into there. Now we're going to test it. Okay, so we've tested it. We had to adjust out the linkages. Just remember, if the idle or the throttle's not going up high enough when you press the pedal, you need to make the linkage longer. You got to push it farther. And that's all hooked up and ready to go. Everything's working perfect. The guard's on. And that's it. So, like I said, I'll put a link to the one that when I did the 2025R. That one is a much more in-depth video if you want to see step-by-step on how to do it. This one we just tried to show the differences between the 10 and the 20. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.